Kendra, I think it's about time for bad movie review. All right, Kendra's bad movie review. She watches a bad movie every single week, Miss Kendra, and this week the movie of choice is what?
The perfect movie for product placement
Is
Chopping Mall.
What do you mean by product placement?
Well,
it's a mall.
Exactly, it's a mall. It provides all the opportunity that you could want to see products. I don't have any proof that there was like any sponsorship or anything. It was just very, as they're seeing the mall, it was a lot of brand names.
1978.
Nope, this one was 1960 or 1986. I'm sorry. Dawn of the Dead came out in 1978 because I was curious which mall horror film came first.
Right.
Dawn of the Dead came out in 78, but Chopping Mall came out in 86, almost 10 years later. So this movie takes place in a mall, obviously. So it's the Park Plaza Mall. This is an imaginary mall that doesn't actually exist.
No, it does exist. It's in California. I've been to this mall, Kendra. This is like the Galleria or like the one, the Grove or something like that.
Yes, it was mostly shot at the Sherman Oaks Galleria in California.
Yes, it looks familiar. Now, I've been to these malls. You know, I used to live out there.
Yes, I do know you.
I've talked about it once or twice. But okay, so it takes place then 1986 zombie.
Well, Chopping Mall. This is not Zombie Mall.
Oh, it's not a zombie. I'm sorry.
No.
Dawn of the Dead. It got me confused.
Yes.
Thank you.
Those are both mall movies. But anyway.
ADHD's a real thing.
Chopping Mall, 1986. Park Plaza just installed a new state-of-the-art security system. It includes heavy door exits, so like, and it shuts from midnight until 6 a.m.
Does it make that noise?
It does.
Okay.
And then also, they got some Dalek-looking robots to...
Is that it? Was that it right there? Was that it?
It was.
Okay.
That they call themselves protectors, but they're not really protectors.
Do they talk?
They do.
Protectors.
They do talk. Do some talking.
Sorry.
And they kind of have a little bit of personality when the robots are trying to like figure something out. You can usually see their little heads like look and move and look at each other, which is kind of interesting. So basically what happens is there's a group of 8 kids, I would say teenagers to early 20s, and they're hanging out in a furniture store, partying like you do as you're a young adult person.
Right.
And basically they find out that the robots have gone haywire and they're stuck in the mall because they stayed past midnight, the door's shut, and they're locked in until 6 a.m.
No kidding.
And they quickly find out that the robots have short-circuited because they see it explode one of their friends' heads, which was probably one of the best scenes in the movie, to be quite honest.
240p is what I'm getting on this preview here. It's not very good quality. This is the head you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So it's got a little head that moves and swivels.
Okay.
So, like, I guess, so they say that the robots were never meant to hurt anybody. At the beginning, you kind of hear the security officer talk about, the fact that they don't kill anybody, they just neutralize them. And they talk about the fact that their eyes have lasers to remove debris. And nothing could ever possibly go wrong. But very quickly, the lightning strikes the mall, and then that short circuits the robots, which results on this killing spree, as it were. Now, the negatives about this movie, I would say that it really had too many of the kids. I would have liked to see 6 at the beginning instead of 8, because then we lost that first 2, then we would have been left with 4. I just felt like the 6 was a lot, because we didn't get a whole lot of character development or character out of any of those characters. Glorious VHS.
Yeah, presented in glorious VHS. I thought that was hilarious.
So, too many kids, in my opinion. The laser graphics are so very, very bad. When the lasers are shooting at the kids, it's really hard to tell where they're supposed to be hitting because it was just so blurry. So I didn't feel like the lasers were very, very good. It was hard to tell. Also, I felt like they kind of missed an opportunity to be funny. One of my initial thoughts about this movie was that they took themselves too seriously as a slasher movie. But after I watched it the second time, I did realize they do include several jokes. It is kind of funny. It's just the jokes don't always land. But they missed an opportunity, in my opinion.
Did they go over your head? The jokes went over your head?
They didn't go over my head. They just weren't that great. I mean, they weren't bad. Like, one of the jokes was, how are we going to get in? Don't worry, I have a key. And then the next scene is him throwing a chair through the glass doors. So the jokes were there. But so at one point, the girls...
I just gotta say, I love the 80s hair right here.
Oh, it's all 80s. She actually, the one you're looking at on screen right now, she was full 80s in that, like, she had high-waisted jeans with, like, the crew net socks and everything. She was all 80s girl. So she's actually the girl that I was about to talk about. At one point, they are in a hardware store, and she grabs a road flare, and the sign that says... don't be caught in a dangerous situation. Grab a road flare. And so I thought, like, my gosh, that would have been great if the mall had seen, like, signs all over it that touted, like, our brand new security, safer than ever, or something like that. That would have been a really great way to add an extra level of comedy while these kids are running away from the Killbots. As it was initially called, Killbots was the movie's the release title. Yeah, they actually rebranded it as Chopping Mall because apparently audiences didn't like Killbots that much.
The janitors, they were there overnight too?
Well...
I think that guy was in Gremlins right there. He's the dad in Gremlins.
The janitor was finishing up a little bit of work, and then the robot comes up, and this is right after the robots have short-circuited. So the robot asks for his ID because theoretically the robots are supposed to be able to check so that way they don't hurt people that are not intruders or criminals. But because it's short-circuited, that doesn't work, and yep, exactly. So a couple of negative things that I didn't like about it that kind of are spoilery-ish is the fact that they kind of played into a couple of cliches. So besides all, like, the random people that you don't have a connection to, like the scientists and the janitors, the first real main characters to die are the quote-unquote sluts, which is very cliche. It's kind of the jerk guy.
I think
and the
you're labeling people
girl.
here.
Well, okay, maybe.
The promiscuous women?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
that's a lot nicer.
Sure.
Okay.
And then, of course, it was the virgin that lasted the longest. She survived. So that was kind of cliche-y, which I did not quite like. And the other thing I didn't like...
Which one's the slut here? The one in this one?
No, the slut's already dead in the scene.
Which one's the mechanic? You were talking about
the one on the right, the girl in the flannel
she looks
shirt.
pretty cool.
Yeah, she was a nice character, which is why I was disappointed that they didn't play that character up more. Like I said, if they had cut it down to 6 teens instead of the 8, we could have been able to see these characters develop a little bit more. So, like, in the beginning scenes, her and her husband are trying to restart their truck, and he can't get it to start, and she gets it to start on the first try. And he says, always the first try. So I thought for sure that she was going to, like, hack the robots or something later on, and that did not happen. She died too early. So as far as... the last thing that I was disappointed about is I never got to see the mall staff, like the mall upper echelon, deal with the blowback of having killer robots monitoring their thing. Like
after the aftermath?
Exactly. The movie ended, and then we didn't get to see, like, I would have liked to see some kind of PR scandal at the end, right, or them addressing the questions or something like that. Would have been funny. Of
course you wanted the PR scandal, Kendra. Okay, all right.
What I enjoyed about this film, great head explosion. Just the head explosion was one of my favorite moments when I was watching this, because it was just...
I wish I could see it. Like, I heard it was the second best movie head explosion of all time.
That is what the actors...
I think Scanners would be number one. I think Scanners would say. The actors said that?
Yeah, that's what the actors said, is they believe that they have the second best.
So why did you pick this movie, by the way?
Well, it was on YouTube, to be quite honest. And then also, Chopping Mall does appear on some lists as, like, one of the best B horror movies that you could watch. It has a little bit of a cult following because it has robots in it. It's not a standard slasher film, but it is very 80s in the fashion and the mall. You know, the mall was a big deal in the 80s. So it kind of plays on those sci-fi themes with the robots, and then people like the horror, and then it's kind of funny. You get to see tits in this a lot. At least twice. So
no, we're no longer a kids show. That's right.
No,
okay.
we're not.
Tits.
I never plan on us being a.
Can we say it together? 1, 2, 3, tits. Okay.
So
there. How many times?
You see full.
And whose?
You see full.
1980s. Which one?
Hers.
The one in front.
Yep.
Okay.
And then
blonde.
The other girls you don't. She's already dead.
Was this a B movie when it came out? So was this like made for just to see boobs, like one of those classic, like campy, like Porky's, where you see boobs and the.
I kind of feel like it was.
Okay.
The people talk about this director as somebody who's known for including lots of women in his films, or not the director, the producer, excuse me. The producer is known for putting lots of women in his films, usually with nudity. That's kind of what he likes in his films. So it kind of followed that theme. Now, besides the head explosion, I also enjoyed the pet store scene. So there was a scene where the actress, the Virgin, I will call her, has survived, and she's running away, and she runs into a pet store, and she climbs underneath a shelf, and she puts the dog food in front of her, and the robot follows her in, but it keeps knocking over all of the glass, like, things that have the animals in, and so tarantulas and snakes are crawling all over the floor, and you see the tarantulas crawling up her bodies and the snake all over her feet. And I found out apparently scorpions were also supposed to be in that scene, but the director, like, he was putting those things on himself as well as like a show of solidarity, like, I'm going to put these things on you, I'll allow the things to be put on me. And he took one look at the scorpions and was like, no, never mind. We're not going to put those in the scene.
That's great. That's great. It's kind of like I slap you, you slap me. Well, we could talk about this all day, but we got to wrap it up here. Let's get a Starship Trooper rating, Kendra. Is there anything else you want to add before I cut you off?
Two things.
Okay.
Points for adding robots. I mean, this movie really, it got points for the head explosion, points for adding the robots. It was a little bit unique in that way. And then the theme I would give this film, because all horror movies have a theme, I would say that this movie's theme is that there's a fine line between security and depression. So that's my theme. My overall score.
All right, Kendra. Now we rate the movie on a scale of 0 to 5 Starship Trooper rating. We've never had a 5 Starship Trooper rating. It sounds like you quite enjoyed this movie. Let's begin. Kendra, do we have one Johnny Rico. Do we have a Johnny Rico? Do we have one Starship Trooper?
We have one Starship Trooper, Johnny Rico. Thank you for joining us.
There we go. Yes, Kendra. Shopping Mall, 1986. Do we have a... What's her name? Come on.
Carmen Ibanez.
I don't have it in front of me. You're gonna have to... Do we have a Carmen Ibanez?
Thank you, Carmen Ibanez, for joining us. Yes, thank you. Two Starship Troopers.
Exciting. These guys could form, we get all the Starship Troopers. They could be on their own little shopping mall. Anyway. All right. 3. Do we have a third?
Dizzy Flores, join the group.
Hey. Okay. Well, this is where we've kind of been stuck. Do we have a 4th Starship Trooper, Kendra?
No, we don't.
Okay, well,
no
we're stuck
4
at 3
Starship
again.
Troopers. It's 3 out of 5 Starship Troopers today. I almost gave it a 2 because, like I said, the character development was so low, but it was that head explosion in the robots that really pushed it up. Like, it was a slasher film with robots, and you just don't see that as much as you could have. So points for that.
Yeah, well, 3 Starship Troopers, not bad. Eventually we're going to have to review Starship Troopers, too. But
I would love that.
Send your requests in the Kendra via Facebook. You can always write the show. You can write something. Is there a spot for them to contact us on our website if they want to?
Yes.
Okay. You probably know us, so get in touch with us that way. And so you go. There you have it. Shopping Mall. Was it worth your time? Would you say go watch it? Would you say a 3 Starship Troopers is like a go watch?
I would, yes. I mean, I would say it's not like a high priority go watch. This one is not for the kids, obviously, with too much nudity.
Because the tits.
It's got a lot of explicit content in it.
Right. There you go.
But
sorry.
Yeah.
If I'm sorry, people, if you don't enjoy swearing and stuff like that. I don't mean to turn you off. But there you go. It's a fact of life.